There's a few kind of meetings we run on a regular basis here at Castos. And in this video, I want to talk through how we run those meetings, why, some things I think we do pretty well, and some areas for improvement that you might consider after hearing how we do things. Let's dive in. I think even if you're the most asynchronous forward company out there, the need for having real-time synchronous in-person meetings or over Zoom or something like that is really important. It helps people get on the same page, makes everyone understand what the goals are and where you're currently at in your business. And there's just no replacement for this. I've not found any project management software or something like Slack or Zoom or whatever that can replace a bunch of smart people in the same room at the same time talking about things that are going on. And that's why we're actually pretty heavy on meetings here at Castos. For a remote distributed team, we have meetings almost every day. So I'm going to talk through the 4 kinds of meetings that we have. The first is a all hands meeting every week. We do it at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern time. This allows our team members in Europe, it's right at the end of their day, and our team members on the West Coast here in North America. It's very early, but it's only once a week that they have to get on. And the format of this is we start with wins. So what great happened in the last week since we had our last meeting? A lot of times we put this in Slack as well. We have a wins channel in Slack, and we run through this and just talk about the good things that happened, right? This is hard enough if we don't talk about the good stuff that happened. Talking through our wins at the beginning of every weekly meeting is a really good way to set the tone for the week ahead. Then we go into kind of company-wide updates. So a good example is like we're having our team retreat next week. We've been talking a lot about that as far as like company-wide updates, not necessarily things that are specific to product or marketing or support or sales, but just like, hey, what's going on in the company? If it's someone's anniversary or we're adding a new team member or something like that, we talk about company-wide updates in this time. Then we go into group updates. And so think about the functional areas of your company: marketing, sales, product, engineering, support. And each group gives an update. So kind of the lead from each team gives an update. And it's not really like, oh, last week I worked on this bug and I just launched this marketing campaign, but what do I need to share with the rest of the team so everyone is on the same page, right? It is not stand up. It is not what did I do last week? What am I doing now? And what am I blocked on? But what do I know that the rest of the team could benefit from knowing about so that we're all on the same page? We're marching towards the same goals. So that's about the last kind of 30 or 40 minutes of those meetings. So the meetings are an hour. They're really great. And the goal of all of it is just get everyone on the same page with maybe what happened last week and what's coming up this next week so that no one's surprised by something that comes up. I think that the fidelity of having this kind of free time to talk through what's going on in our worlds is really good. And every week, without fail, there's something that someone says, oh, wow, I'm glad I knew that. I wouldn't have known this was going on if you didn't mention it. So highly encouraged. The next group of meetings are group meetings, right? So marketing, sales, support, development, all have their own meetings throughout the week. And this is really where we focus on OKRs first, right? So we're pretty big on OKRs. OKRs are set on a quarterly basis and they're checked in on weekly. And the place we do that is in the team meetings. So the format of team meetings is they start with a review of OKRs. Hey, where are we with OKRs? Okay, we're on target or we're ahead. Great. Oh, we're behind. Okay, let's dive in. Let's figure out what's going on with that OKR. Is it the wrong metric? Maybe. Or is it just, hey, we're not kind of actioning on the right things to make this successful? That's possible. Okay, let's figure out strategies to get back on track here. Then there's kind of like pressing topics or things we want to talk about. That takes up the rest of the time. And those are the group meetings. Those are spaced pretty evenly throughout the week: Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The third kind of meeting we have is we call co-working. Happens 10 o'clock Friday mornings. Again, so folks in Europe and the US and North America can join. And it's really just like having a cup of coffee, right? There's a little bit of work that happens. There's a little bit of, hey, by the way, that goes on, but it's really just a great way to like unwind together. It's on Friday, very intentionally going into the weekend, talk about our families, talk about our kids and hobbies and sports and interests outside of work. Totally cool. It's just a way to kind of be together. There's never an agenda. And it's just a way to be a team and to be kind of a family. The last way we meet virtually is in one-on-ones. So I, as CEO, have a one-on-one with everyone on the team every other week. These are 30-minute meetings as opposed to all the rest of them are an hour. And the goal of these is just have personal one-on-one time with everyone on the team. Hey, how's the family? What's going on in your life? Hey, I just got married. That's cool. Tell me about this. Hey, I have this trip coming up. And that, depending on the person, right? And I let the person kind of drive this. Sometimes that's a lot of the discussion because that's kind of what they need from my perspective. Sometimes it's like, hey, let's jump into work and let's talk about work because that's what they need. They come to the one-on-one with needing to talk about work. And so I let the team member drive the agenda a little bit, but there's always an element of personal and there's always an element of work. And for me, the switch is always very clear and it's always exactly the same way. I say, hey, how are things going at work? And that means, okay, we're not talking about travel. We're not talking about sports anymore. We're talking about work. Let's talk about kind of where you are. Are you blocked on anything? Are you happy? Are you unhappy? Should we talk about career planning stuff? And that's my way to open the door to say, hey, this is your agenda, right? Tell me what's going on with you. For me as a manager, if there are performance considerations and issues that I have, this is where I raise them. When we say, hey, tell me about work, they tell me kind of what's going on and what's on their mind. And then I say, okay, great. Like, I'd like to talk to you about this thing because I'm kind of concerned or I've noticed this pattern or, hey, we need to address this thing. The one-on-ones are a sacred time for me. They never can get rescheduled. They're the most important thing I do by far with each team member. I do take them walking sometimes. This is the one meeting that, especially kind of depending on the person and the circumstance, if it's really just that virtual cup of coffee, I'll go walk the dog and they do too. And I encourage them to mix up the formats a little bit. It's a great way to like get away, step out of the office, have time. It's just a really enjoyable time. There shouldn't be anything super pressing where we need to sit down and look at something on the computer together at a one-on-one. That's reserved for either the team meeting or the kind of group meetings like sales, marketing, development meetings. I'd be remiss to say that we have a fifth one. So this is a 4+1 maybe. We have a team retreat every year. We are going to Greece. I'm leaving tomorrow for our annual retreat. These can line up with a conference. This one and the one we did in Berlin line up with WordCamp Europe. Sometimes they do that. Sometimes they are standalone, like their one in Chicago last year. These are typically 2 days. I'll do a whole nother video on how we structure our team retreats, but they're just absolutely amazing. It can't replace the value that they have for me with the team and the team with each other and our ability to work together and be a really high output, high functional team. Highly encourage you to think about the investment of this. They're not cheap, but I think for remote teams, they're really, really, really important. Doing them every year, if you can, every year, if you can't swing it every year, but super important. Hope this helps share a little bit about the meetings that we do on a regular basis, why I do them, why I think they're important. I think if there's one place I could improve, it would be to have a little more structure to the one-on-one meetings we have. Like I said, some of them are really just, there's almost no work that happens during them. And something I'm trying to work on is to say, okay, we have 30 minutes. Let's talk about personal and family stuff up to 15 minutes and then talk about work stuff for the next 15 minutes. I think that's something I'll probably start implementing in the next quarter. But sometimes it's just fun. I have awesome team members and I just want to, shoot the shit with them. So I hope this is helpful. Drop a comment in below. Let me know how you're doing meetings with your teams, especially if you're remote and distributed. Would love to hear some of the best practices of people who've been doing this for a really long time. Let's all learn together. If you're enjoying the channel, like, subscribe, smash the button, ring the bell, all the good stuff. Send YouTube those great signals, and we'll see you next time.